Okay, it's recording. And then this one is recording too. Yes? Okay, I'll let it record.
Alright. So, I want all eyes on me first and foremost, okay? So let's talk about some things that we have been learning for the past 2 weeks. I know that this week we were doing STAR, so we didn't brush up on a lot of science. So who can raise their hand and tell me some things that we were talking about last week in science? Vivian Ramirez.
Adaptation.
Adaptations. What is an adaptation? Can you give me a definition?
An adaptation is where like an animal has to adapt in its environment.
Okay, good. That's an excellent definition. Why does an animal have to adapt to their environment? Joseph.
To increase their survival chance.
To increase their survival chance, that's one of them, absolutely. Is there something else that needs to adapt to its environment besides an animal? Nicole?
Plants.
Plants, awesome. So plants and animal adaptations, we talked about that. We talked about what else? What kind of cycles? Life cycles, different animal cycles, complete and incomplete metamorphosis, correct? What's the difference between a complete and incomplete, Anthony?
Incomplete has egg and adult.
And that's how many stages? 3, and then what about a complete metamorphosis?
Egg, larva, pupa.
Okay, so you said egg, larva, pupa, and adult, and that's 4 stages, and that's a complete metamorphosis. Excellent job. All right, so today we're basically just going to continue on with more life science, okay? So the TEK that we're going to be covering today is going to be, it is on the board. I'm going to read it to you. It's from 5.10b. Notice how I underlined the word differentiate. Who can tell me what the word differentiate means? That's a big word. Differentiate. What do you think, Sophia? What is differentiate?
Sounds like different.
Sounds like the word different. You see, the root word is different, right? Okay, so what do you think it means if I'm applying it to something, to differentiate? Caesar, what do you think? Compare and contrast. Good. So, you're going to be able to differentiate between inherited traits of plants and animals, such as spines on a cactus, or shape of a beak, and learned behavior such as an animal learning tricks, or a child riding a bicycle, okay? I picked 2 questions that I want you guys to think about and then answer at the end of the lesson, okay? So right now you may or may not be able to answer them, and that's okay. After the lesson you will be able to answer these questions, okay? So the first question I want you to think about while I'm teaching is, what does inherited trait mean from this lesson? From our lesson. Notice how it says from our lesson. That means we're going to do it after the lesson is done. Second question, what characteristics did the offspring inherit from their parent? All right, look at the word characteristics, guys. What's the root word of the word characteristics? Character. Character, what else? What does characteristics mean to you guys? What is that? What are characteristics?
Traits that is great.
Like character traits. Who said that? Who said traits? Good, Giovanni. So it's the same thing as like an ELA. You know how whenever you guys are reading a passage and they're describing character traits to you? Characteristics are the same thing. It's just a scientific way to say it. Okay? Good. So those are the 2 questions that I want you guys to be thinking about. Okay? So we're going to be looking at our DSR for the first part of the lesson. Alright? The reason I asked you guys to take your journals out is because you will be journaling. Okay? So I want you guys to journal what you think the word inherited traits means. And I want to see you put it in your own words. So give me a definition in your own words on inherited traits. You can go ahead and do that now. I want you to title it inherited traits. Okay? I'll give you guys a minute to do that, and then we'll go over the definition to see how close you guys got. Did you have a question?
Wait, so we just put that?
Yes, so you're going to put the title inherited traits, okay? And then you're going to define it in your own words based on your background knowledge and what you think it means to you. Okay? I'm going to give you guys 1 minute, and then we're going to move on, and we're going to move on with our PowerPoint.
We're going to talk about it after.
We will talk about it and discuss it afterwards. I love the way Ben put his title in the middle of his paper. That's indicating exactly what he's going to be learning and writing about. So good job, Ben. I like that. You guys have 1 minute. Yes, sir. I like that I'm seeing complete sentences. I do like that y'all aren't bullet pointing it. That means you're actually taking the time to really think about the definition and what inherited traits means whenever you hear it in a sentence or when we're learning about science. So excellent job, you guys. I'm proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you. Good. When you're done, I'll know when you've put your pencil down and you're waiting quietly for me to move forward. I like the way Amber's waiting quietly. Has her pencil down. Nicole has her pencil down. She's waiting quietly. Crystal has her pencil down. She's waiting quietly. Good job, guys. All right, a few more seconds, guys, and then we're moving on. Just a few more of my friends are still writing. Let's hurry, guys. All right. So now that you guys have been able to define it on your own based on what you think inherited traits means, we're going to look at the actual definition, and I want you guys to compare your definition with the proper definition, okay? Because I want you guys to go ahead and write down the actual definition, okay? The actual definition of inherited traits. They are physical features, physical structures and features that we get from our family, mom, dad, or ancestors, or even your grandparents. Okay, so raise your hand if your definition was very similar to this definition. Good, I'm glad. So let me ask you guys something. What did you guys think about when you thought of inherited traits? How are you able to define it? Anthony, how are you able to define inherited traits?
It is a behavior that animal learns or was born with.
Good. So it also applies to animals and not just, what are we? Human beings. Good. So it applies to animals, humans, what else? Plants. Good. All right. So go ahead and copy that definition down quickly, and then we are going to watch a brain pop on heredity. And when you're done, just go ahead and put your pencil down and your notebook down, and then we can move on. Yes, sir. No, keep it out. Make sure to keep your notebooks out. We are not done using them, okay? That was a good question, Joseph. Alright, so we said the definition was the physical structures and features that we get from our family, mom, dad, or ancestors, which can be your grandparents, okay? Because have you ever guys taken into consideration how sometimes there are parents who both have brown eyes? And I've seen this. I actually have a friend. The mother has brown eyes and the father has brown eyes. Well, guess what? Their baby has blue eyes. Right. You know how that baby got blue eyes? The grandparents. The mother of the grandmother of that child, whether it be the mother of the mother or the mother of the father, has blue eyes. That gene skipped the mommy and went straight to the baby. So it skipped that generation and went to generation 2, which would be the baby. Yes, sir. Did you have a question?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, yeah, I get some stuff from my grandparents.
Did you get some stuff from, like, traits from your grandparents?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the kids do inherit some things like blue eyes or green eyes, or even maybe hair color. It doesn't even have to be eye color. All right, yes, ma'am.
I inherited my skin from my grandma.
You inherited your lighter skin tone from your grandma? That's awesome. Okay, so we know what inherited traits are, so let's watch our video on heredity. Okay, and I would like all eyes on the screen, please. Nicole, if you could please get the lights behind you. I'll go ahead and I'll log us into our brain pop so we can watch the video. Make sure it's on. What was the first one? Thank you. Alrighty. So, science. So let's type in heredity. Interesting, nothing came up. Okay, that doesn't make sense. I don't know why it didn't come up.
It did show up.
So, did it show up?
It said 5 results would have been
So is it this one? Because it's not letting me click on it. Look.
Well, that's a different one. Go to the live again.
Say that one more time.
Search it up again.
What?
Search it up again. Search it up again. It says
Okay.
5 results, but it didn't.
Heredity. Oh, here we go. Okay, well that's why. It hadn't loaded earlier, so I thought there was no search results. Okay. So clearly we're having some technical difficulties.
Start from the beginning.
Say that one more time.
Start from the. Go to the home page.
Okay. Here, I'm going to exit it and I'm going to click it again, okay?
And then go to
Okay, click it from here.
No, but science. And then go to cellular, life, and genetic. Yes.
I don't think so. I had to type it in.
It was.
Alright, so let's find heredity. And it is in alphabetical order. Alright, perfect. Thank you, Anthony. Okay, so just, I need you guys to make sure you're listening closely. So be paying very close attention.
Dear Tim and Moby, my parents both have brown eyes, but mine are blue. What's going on? From Tyra. Well, I bet there are blue-eyed people somewhere in your family tree. Eye color is just one of many physical traits we inherit from our parents. That passing of traits from parents to offspring is known as heredity. But remember that parents inherit traits from their parents, and so on, as far back as your family tree can go. Let's look at some pea plants to see how it all works. Yes, pea plants. Every living thing inherits traits. Back in the 1800s, a monk named Gregor Mendel used pea plants to study how traits like height, color, and shape are inherited. When Mendel crossed short plants with tall plants, he noticed that only tall plants were produced. Whatever produced these short plants seemed to disappear. Mendel called that tall height trait the dominant factor because it dominated or covered up the short height form. He called the short height trait the recessive factor. By the second generation of pea plants, those recessive short plant forms cropped up again. After tons of research, Mendel was able to predict that, on average, 1 out of every 4 pea plants would be short. Each plant has 2 genes that determine height. The tall gene, represented here by a capital T, is dominant, which means it only takes 1 of these genes to make a plant tall. It takes 2 short genes, represented by a lowercase t, to make a plant short. In the 19th century, a British geneticist named Reginald Punnett also experimented with peas and developed something called the Punnett square. Among other things, this Punnett square lets you predict the likelihood of what you would get if you crossed a tall plant with a short plant. An offspring gets 1 gene from each parent, either a tall or a short gene. Each plant produced by these 2 plants will be tall because each one has one of those dominant tall genes. But what happens if 2 of these new plants produce offspring? There are lots of ways this could turn out, but the most likely result is that we get 3 tall plants and 1 short one. Mendel only figured this stuff out after carefully studying 30,000 individual pea plants over an 8-year period. Well, I guess it's pretty reasonable to assume that he had peas for dinner every night. I think you're missing the point. Obi? Obi?
Yeah, those videos are always fun. Okay, so we learned about heredity. Okay, so let me ask you guys now. What are some physical traits you inherited from your parents or ancestors? If you would like to answer, please raise your hand. So what are some physical traits you inherited? Oh, actually, Vanessa, you did answer that earlier. You said you inherited the lighter skin tone from your grandmother, right? What about you, Crystal?
My mom and my brothers we're all like our favorite subject is math, and like we're all good at math except the other subjects.
I like that. What about you, Sarah?
My parents and my brother all wear glasses.
You know, it's funny. I was actually going to say that for me. I inherited the not so great eyesight from my mom's side of the family because everyone in my mom's side of the family actually wears glasses. My dad's side of the family has hawk eyes. I mean, they can see. They have 20/20 vision, which is the best vision you can have. My dad only started wearing glasses because of old age. He only needs them to be able to read up close, but I need them because I cannot see. If I take my contacts off, everything is a blur. Yes, ma'am, last one.
Same, my skin color got it from my grandpa, and I'm the one who needs to wear glasses.
The glasses. Okay, Daisy. And then we're done.
Freckles from my grandma.
You got your freckles from your grandma? So do you guys see how it's interesting? Sometimes you don't inherit traits directly from your parents. They skip that generation and then you get it from your grandparents. And that does happen often. Like I told you guys the story with the blue-eyed baby my friends have, and they both have brown eyes. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so I want you guys to journal this question. And just like we did with the definition of inherited traits, I want you guys to tell me, what do you think? What are inherited behaviors versus learned behaviors? Okay, you're gonna do this in your group. You can do it on the same page. If you guys would like to write on the bottom of that page, you're welcome to. If you'd like to start a new page, you can. So I want you guys to title this one, Inherited Behaviors versus Learned Behaviors. You guys may talk about it quietly in your group for just a minute, okay? And then after you're done, you've written down your definition, I want you guys to share, all right? And then after we're done sharing what we think the definition of inherited behavior versus learned behavior is, we're going to watch a video, a brain pop video on behaviors. Did you have a question?
I wanted to tell you that I don't look like my friends, I look like my dad.
You look like your aunt? Well, you guys, you can inherit traits from any family member because you remember how it said you can inherit it from family, mom, dad, or ancestors, which are your grandparents. So it doesn't have to specifically come right from your mom and dad because think about it. Your mom might carry the same gene as your aunt. Therefore, it was passed down to you when you were born. Okay? So go ahead and define what you think inherited behaviors versus learned behaviors are. Yes, you can talk about it in your group, okay? I'll know you're ready when your pencil is down, and then we can share. Okay? You can talk about it in your group. Okay. Make sure you guys are really focusing on the difference, okay? A learned behavior is not the same thing as an inherited behavior, okay? And we're going to talk about it in just a second.
I learned one was like how you give my inheritance my dad's personality.
I like the conversations I'm hearing. I'm hearing some really good valid points.
I could have gone to China because like my other ancestors, they had my dad's side had like color eyes.
You know, that you're going to talk about a lot about the stuff that you were learning in class, and I like that.
You can do the bottom color, just get contacts when you're 18, put them on.
Alright guys, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, I heard some really great conversations. What I'm going to do is I would like to hear from every single group. So, my first group, one person from this group, Karina. Can you tell me, oh, we'll wait because some of our friends are still talking. Okay, so Karina, what did you and your group decide? What is inherited behavior versus a learned behavior? What makes them different?
Inherited behavior you inherit from.
I like that she used the word inherit and she didn't say you have it. That's a good scientific word to use.
And learned behavior, you learn it.
You learn it? Okay, so give me an example of a learned behavior. What's something you learn? becomes a behavior?
Riding a bike.
Riding a bike, that's an excellent example. Good job, guys. All right, my second group. Daisy, can you tell me what you guys came up with? What is an inherited behavior versus a learned behavior?
Well, inherited behavior is something that it's passed on in your genes.
Excellent.
And a learned behavior is like, it's like your manners. You're born with manners. You're not taught with your manners.
Excellent. I love that. She said you were not born with manners. Your mother taught you manners. Good. We are not born knowing that we need to wipe our mouth after we eat a bowl of spaghetti, because you know what? 9 out of 10 times that spaghetti is all over your chin because it's all over my chin. So my mother taught me to wipe my mouth after I'm done eating. Not just spaghetti, but just in general. Excellent, excellent form of examples. I love that. Good. Next group, Anthony, tell me, inherited versus learned behaviors.
When the animal lady came,
Oh, I like that.
Coyotes, when they cross the street, they look both ways.
Okay.
And she said that scientists, they took the coyotes to see if it was inherited behavior or learned, to see if they were born like that, or they just learned it from the other coyotes.
Okay, so what did she say? Did she tell you guys if whenever a coyote crosses the street, they look both ways? Did she say, is that an inherited behavior? Is that something they're born knowing? Or does the mother coyote have to teach the little coyote how to cross the street? Oh, she didn't tell you. Okay, so raise your hand if you think that's a learned behavior. I think it's a learned behavior because usually, for example, a baby lion, they're not born knowing how to hunt. A mother has to teach the lion in order to survive how to hunt. Okay, good job, guys. I'm loving these examples. Donnie, tell me.
You can inherit a talent.
You can inherit a talent. Like what? Give me an example.
Drawing. I get that from my grandpa.
Good, I like that. Okay, and then give me an example of a learned behavior.
Well, you can talk.
A learned behavior? You know what?
Some people.
A learned behavior, I do like that because when you're a baby, your mother is teaching you how to say mama, dada, right? Or however you guys say it. Like,
because they hear you talking and they want
right, so basically you're like a little baby parrot. You repeat everything that you say and your mother is teaching you. So I like that example, Donnie. All right, let's get it together, guys. All right, we got 2 more groups I need to share real quick. All right, Amber, give me an inherited behavior versus a learned behavior.
An inherited behavior is something that is passed on from parents or anywhere else.
I like that, good.
And then a learned behavior is something you either learn from like your siblings or your mom and dad or grandparents.
Good.
I don't know.
I love it. No, that's absolutely correct. Good.
Or from experience.
Be confident in your answer because you were absolutely on point. I love that. Okay, and Ben, my little Ben. Okay, so an inherited behavior versus a learned behavior. Tell me.
An inherited behavior is like when you get, say if your grandma has a track running person or something, like a track team, like a swimming track team, and then.
Oh, wait a second, Ben. We'll wait. Some of our friends are being a little rude. Because I know Ben wasn't laughing when y'all were trying to give your answers. So let's be kind, okay? That's a manner, right? What kind of behavior is that? A learned behavior. All right, so let's apply it to this classroom, okay? Right, JP? Good. All right, go ahead, Ben.
And then you get the running skill from your grandma. And then a learned behavior is like putting on your shoes or tying your shoes.
Tying your shoes, that's excellent. You're not born knowing how to tie your shoe. Believe me, there's still 5th graders I try to teach how to tie their shoes.
He was like 14 and my
Yes.
sister.
All right, so I think you guys have grasped the definitions of inherited behaviors and versus learned behaviors. I love it. I think y'all did fantastic. And I love the examples y'all shared. They were very personal. Everyone had their own example, which is awesome. All right, so this is the definition. It's instincts or behavior we are born knowing how or to do. That is inherited behavior. All of you guys were able to get that. So kudos to you. And then a learned behavior. The definition for a learned behavior is behaviors learned from being taught or by watching others. Okay? Like riding a bicycle, tying your shoe, learning how to talk or draw. What else was another example, Daisy? Manners, learning your manners. Awesome. Ooh. All right, so now we're going to watch our brain pop on behaviors. Okay, I'll give you guys a few seconds to copy down those definitions, and then we're going to move on.
Oh, we're going to copy it?
No, I'll cut that out of the video.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we copy that?
No, you're fine.
Oh, yes.
Because we think Tara shared it, so. Okay, so, said behaviors. Oh, no, it's not over here. Ooh, I already know I'm gonna like this video. And of course, you have to re-log in. What was the password, student? Wow. You know what, guys? Miss A really needs to learn this behavior.
Yes.
What happened? Alright, give me a second, guys.
Go to home.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's watch Tim and Moby and what they're going to tell us about behaviors. Alright, pay very close attention.
Dear Tim and Moby, is behavior the same thing as instinct? From Kimmy. Well, sort of, but not completely. Behavior is the way that an organism acts in its environment. Behaviors can be instinctive, but they can also be learned. Instinct, or inherited behavior, is something you're born with. Like baby mammals are born knowing how to suckle, and baby birds are born knowing to peck at their parents' beaks for food. Innate behaviors are genetically hardwired into an animal's nervous system so that a stimulus, such as bright light, will cause a specific response, like blinking. Other stimuli can include things like heat, noise, or anything that arouses the senses. Innate behavior can range from simple to complex. The simplest kinds of innate behaviors are automatic movements, like those toward or away from